Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. One of the most unique aspects of the Ethereum blockchain is the ability to deploy what are known as smart contracts directly to the blockchain. Think of smart contracts as autonomous code that can help facilitate the transfer of cryptocurrency between two parties. DApps, or decentralized apps, are built on top of these smart contracts, helping to create a completely secure end to end user experience as well as provide fees back to the application developers when smart contracts are executed. In this tutorial, we'll go over setting up our own Ethereum test network in Ganache, deploying our smart contracts to the test network, and building our own DApp to interact with these contracts. Let's get started. The first thing we want to do is download Ganache. So we're going to head to trufflesuite.com/Ganache. The link's going to be in the description. From there, we're going to download and install the Ganache app. So Ganache is going to be the in-memory blockchain that we're going to use. So think of it as your own local Ethereum network that we're going to develop and test our smart contracts against. We'll get back to Ganache in a second. The next thing we're going to do is install the MetaMask Google Chrome extension, which is also linked in the description. MetaMask is going to allow us to hook our wallet up to our local Ethereum network running in Ganache. It can also be used to connect to the main Ethereum network. So first we have to accept the MetaMask terms of service, and then we need to give our new wallet a password. As we go and create our new wallet, this password can be anything. As we're going to do some testing with it, just make sure you actually write that password down somewhere. And then finally, it's going to ask if we want to secure our wallet. We're not going to do that right now for the purpose of this demo, though I do recommend it. Since this is just going to be a test wallet, we can skip that security step. And now we've successfully created our new wallet to use for testing in MetaMask. Next, we'll quick start our local test network in Ganache. This is going to start our own local Ethereum network we can use to test against, all seeded with 10 accounts with 100 Ethereum each that we'll use for testing. So now we'll actually hook up to the local Ganache network in MetaMask. So what we'll do is take our RPC server URL here. We'll head over to the MetaMask Chrome extension, hit the Ethereum mainnet in the top right corner, and hit Add Network. Then we'll actually add this new Ganache network manually here. Click Add a Network manually. We'll call it Ganache Test. Paste in that RPC URL that we had before. We'll use the default chain ID, which is 1337, and the currency symbol of ETH for Ethereum. And then we can save that network and it will be added to MetaMask that we can then use to connect our wallet. So now that we're connected to the local Ganache network, what we're going to do is actually hook up one of the Ganache wallets that was spun up. So if we open Ganache back up, we'll come back under accounts and see this first address here. We'll go to show keys and we're actually going to copy this private key to hook up the wallet as if it is this local instance here. So now we're going to pretend as if we are this wallet, come back, hit add an account, import account, and then paste that private key right in. And now this wallet has hooked up to match what this address is in our local network, and our 100 Ethereum in the wallet are now loaded into MetaMask, and we're ready to actually develop our DApp. So the next thing we need to ensure is downloaded is NodeJS. We'll download the LTS version from nodejs.org. That link will be in the description, and we'll go ahead and open up and install Node. So Node will be what allows us to access all of the Truffle tools, which will be helpful for Ethereum development, as well as run our UI in React. So we'll ensure that this is installed. Now that should be everything that we need to install. So I'm in a new folder here. I recommend creating a new folder where you're actually going to store the code for your application. And what we're going to do here is just type in this cmd command and bring up the command prompt, which is going to drop us in this folder. Now, you don't need to be in this folder to run this next command, but this is the command we're going to use to globally install Truffle. I just recommend running it from this folder. It'll just make following the tutorial easier. So that is our command npm install-g, which is going to be a global install of Truffle, all of those node dependencies, and all the tools that will make building our DApp much easier. So now that Truffle's been successfully installed, the next thing I'm going to do is run this command as an admin in the command prompt. This is going to be in the folder that I want my DApp project code to live, and I'm going to run Truffle Unbox React. What this is going to do is go get the React template from the Truffle website and give us a templated DApp project with our own smart contracts and our own client that we can then use to build off of. So I'm going to let this download, and as it completes, as it just did now, we're going to see some example commands. There's going to be a top level Truffle folder which is going to hold our smart contracts and deployments there, and then the client, which is actually our front end code that we'll go take a look at for our DApp project. So I have my project open in Visual Studio Code. You can use the code editor of your choice to open up and look at the DApp code that was generated. One thing that I'm going to do and recommend if you do use Visual Studio Code is to download the Solidity extension and install that, as it's going to give you text highlighting for the smart contracts as we'll open them up. So Truffle contracts. And what this creates is a simple storage smart contract. So really all this is doing is it has one value in its state of the contract, and it reads and writes the value. So a simple smart contract that you're probably not going to use for a real world situation, but will give us a really good demonstration. You can view the different migrations. So actually pushing the smart contract to the network, which we'll show against Ganache here in a second. And then we have the client folder. So these two folders represent completely different things. The client is just going to be our front end, which is already equipped with all of the React components we need, context like connecting to the Ethereum network, and we'll go through and do a demonstration here in a second. Before we actually migrate the smart contracts and run the DApp UI, what we want to do is open up Ganache one more time. We'll head into contracts and we'll link our Truffle config file, so that way we can actually see the output of the smart contract in Ganache, which makes development much easier. So the next thing we'll do is come back into our DApp folder and we'll go into our lower Truffle folder. And now what we're going to do is migrate our contracts to our local Ganache test network and just run Truffle migrate. So what this is going to do is compile our contract. And as you just saw in the background, our contract is now deployed to our local network with an address. So you can see our smart contract here with a storage value of 0 because we didn't actually set any state variables. And now we have our local smart contract deployed to the network. And now we're set to run our DApp where we can actually manipulate this contract. So now what we'll do is bring everything together end to end. So we're back in our DApp folder. We'll go into our client folder and then just run the command npm start, which is going to start our front end project at localhost 8080. So we'll navigate there now. So when you first load everything up, if it worked correctly, you're going to see it ask you to connect your MetaMask account here up in the corner. And we're just going to click the second account that we added, the actual wallet connected to our Ganache network. We're connecting to localhost, and we're going to give it access to this account running on our local network, and we'll hit next and go ahead. And now our account is connected to MetaMask running on Ganache, and we have something working end to end. So this again is just the Truffle out of the box messaging, and this will be the last part of the demonstration here where we're actually going to see the smart contract work. So what we can do here is actually change the value. So we can call this write function through the UI that's out of the box. So if we open Ganache back up, we're going to write in 5 as the new value. So right now we have this state variable of 0 in our smart contract that is deployed. And what we're going to do is actually pay the gas fee from our account so that we can write and execute this function on the smart contract. So if we hit write, MetaMask is going to say, hey, there's a contract interacting. We're going to have to pay the gas fee. Again, this is all tests from our Ganache network, and we're going to confirm that transaction against the Ganache network. And now we can open it back up, and we can see the account now has a single transaction on it, which we just ran. Here is the transaction, and now the state value is set at 5. So that is an end-to-end tutorial on connecting and running a local Ethereum network, building a DApp end-to-end, and running all the interactions necessary to start building your own Ethereum app.